If you have a really special fabric with texture or embroidery, then the style of the garment you sew can be super simple, and then the garment can be really special. Look at this Borderie Anglaise, so pretty. I've got 3 garments to share with you today. Stay tuned. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I'm here outside at dawn. Actually, just at sunrise. It's really pretty out here, and in about 2 hours I'm getting ready to head out, take a bus, about an 8-hour bus trip going up the country closer to Santiago, to where my in-laws live. That's where my husband is at the moment, and we'll spend a few days before we go back to our home in Brazil. I'm really sad about it. You know, the time here has flown a lot. I've been here for about 5 weeks, and it's felt like a week, literally. I mean, between everything I've been doing for work and also spending time with my family, it's been day after day after day, has been like each day had 4 hours. It's been really intense, and it's flown way too fast, and it happens every single year. Yesterday evening I said goodbye to my brother and his family, my sister-in-law, my nieces. Yeah, that was rough. So I plan to start working on editing this video for you as I travel today. It'll be a day trip. I think it's more relaxing that way. I'll have really great company with my son. So between Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon, less than 24 hours, you know, if you count the hours, I made about 8 garments because I tried to be spending time with family and things, and I knew I wanted to sew things, and then it was all go at the last second. But I'm not sharing 8 of those garments now. I'm just sharing 3 of those. You'll see the others in a little bit. But I wanted to make my mom some really special tops. I even brought the fabric with me from Brazil. When I went shopping over there, I'd found the fabric. She really likes Borderie Anglaise or cotton eyelet, and I've made her a blouse in the past that's white. In 2019, my parents visited me in Brazil, and she bought her own fabric while she was there, and I made her a really simple top. And all these years she's been saying, I need more of those tops. They're a staple, they're solids. I'd love to have one in blue and in black. So I'd brought these fabrics with me in my suitcase. I traveled with a bunch of stuff I thought I was going to need. And I made the Cadence top from Love Notions. The Love Notions sale is still going on. It goes through Friday the 7th. So you still have a few hours to look at the sale if you haven't gotten your favorite patterns. It is a 30% off site-wide sale. Now, why make the Cadence top? This is a TNT pattern for both me and my mum. I've made it countless amounts of time, and it's a really simple woven pattern with darts that fits really well and has a lot of options. You can make so many items with this garment, from a top to a dress. You have sleeve options, neckline options, so it's really gone a long way, and I love printing it out and using it. I know exactly what fitting adjustments we need, both my mum and myself. And for her, I'd made it twice already in the past. I'd made one in a rayon twill with stripes, a longer top. Mum has one size on this area and a smaller size at the hips, but she prefers a lot of ease, so I tend to just make her a size large, even though I should blend in to the hips at medium. But she likes more ease on her clothes. That's a really nice top that she likes to wear. And then I made her the special Borderie Anglaise with the white fabric, which is so special. What I do with these fabrics, because they usually come with a scallop detail on the cross grain all the way from one side to the other, is fold the fabric the other way. When I cut anything on the cross grain, I make sure to pre-wash my fabric at least twice to make sure it's shrunk. And then I don't have to hem. I just have to cut my pieces, make sure everything matches on the side. If your blouse has a slight curve, you know, on the hem, you need to eliminate that and just straighten it out to use the scallops there on the hem and also on the sleeves. So it can be a top that takes no time to sew at all, especially if it's one that you've already made adjustments. All I need to do to the Cadence to fit myself and my mum is lower the bust dart about 1¼ inches. That is all. The rest is all fine. So it's really nice to sew up projects like this that you know are not going to be stressful. I've tried to keep my projects relatively simple this summer. I have made a few that are quite involved, but in general, I've been trying to maximize my time with my family rather than spending all the hours sewing, right? So what I do to the Cadence top when I sew with fabrics like Borderie Anglaise is eliminate the back seam. I really don't want a seam there to disrupt the embroidery and the details there. There is no shaping in this back seam on the Cadence top, so you can just fold it away and cut your pattern piece on the fold. You know, I like that the back seam is there, and I do use it if I use a print or anything like that. So it's not that I don't like the seam, I do like it, but for this type of fabric I don't use it. So these were so fast to whip up. I knew they were going to fit, zero stress. I knew the outcome was going to be amazing. And let me show you the first one. This is the blue one. It's not a navy, it's darker than a royal blue. It's showing lighter on screen, but look how amazing this fabric is. It's so pretty. And these are the scallops, and I left them like that on the sleeve. I'll show you in a second what I did inside. I use a scoop neckline, which is one of the options in the pattern. There is a facing in the pattern that you can use, or you can use bias tape to finish the neckline. I found a scrap of bias tape, the ones that you buy in cotton, in my mom's stash of things. So fortunate. Or else I would have made some from this fabric. And that's being used to finish the neckline inside. Maybe you see tiny hand stitches because mom sewed it in all the way around on the inside by hand to keep this super clean, super neat. I didn't really want any top stitching through the eyelets, you know. So that is so nice. At the back, no seam, cut on the fold, and it's so precious. Now what I do to projects like this, I serge the edges first, all of them, and then I sew, and then I press them all open because it's less bulky. This fabric is medium weight, it is pretty structured, and I don't like having seams together like that when the fabric is heavier. So everywhere you have seams that have been serged open. At the ends, I leave long tails of thread. My mom has these humongous needles that she uses when she knits, you know, when you sew pieces together, and it's really easy to thread everything, push it back in there, and then I did a bit of hand tucking to keep these seams flat on the bottom. I managed to match the shape of the scallop there on that seam there on the side, which took a little bit of thought, a little bit of time. Totally worth it. So very neat, very easy. Bust that right there on the side. The bust that is sort of angled, and it's right there with the volume pressed down. And that is my mom's blue version, and I'll show you the black one. This is the black version. It's got a different type of embroidery. It's not the same as the other one, and it's so pretty. I've also used bias tape to finish the neckline. This time it's just satin bias tape. I do have some understitching on that bias tape to keep it nice and neat inside. And the scallops here are smaller. This was easier to cut. I didn't really need to think that much about matching the scallops because they were so small. So cutting the sleeve, super easy, no hem. Same as at the bottom here, no hem. Now the way that this was embroidered, there is an area here that has less openings than here. I made sure to make this area, the darker area, hit around where the bust is. So the dart is right there. So when she wears the bra, you won't be able to see that much. And then this area has more openings, that's around her midriff, so that's fine, and same as here on the upper chest. I did think about that before cutting it out because she doesn't want to wear a cami or lace underneath, you know, she just wants to wear her bra, and you're going to see a little bit of skin, but it's fine. And the fact that this fabric was made like that has a more solid area there was great. There's a little bit of solid area here, but I made sure that that hits the bust right there. So lovely. She styled this just with a denim skirt, very simple styling. It's the way that she actually dresses all the time. So let's see this one on her. These are the Cadence tops I made my mom. This is a pattern from Love Notions for wovens. It has so many options here. I made her a size large with a standard bust, and both of these are Anglaise broderie. And to make use of the scallops that were all along the cross grain, I cut my pattern pieces on the cross grain so I could have them on the hem, on both the sleeve and the bottom. They are slightly shorter than the original, and I did have to even out that hem to make it straight to use the scallops. And the blue and the black version she has are going to be staples in her wardrobe. She loves this type of fabric. I think because it's so pretty, you can use a simple design that fits well like this, and it'll be a really special piece. I used bias tape to finish the neckline, and that has been sewn in by hand on the inside. Mum really wanted to have these tops, and the Cadence was perfect for them. I know it's not the most complex of projects, but sometimes these that are more simple are the ones that actually get worn a lot, especially because they are in solids. They're going to go with everything, and super special because I knew she really wanted to have these. She's been talking about having these for years, literally. So they came to life and it makes me really happy. I've made my sister-in-law a couple of projects this summer. Every time I've come, I've made her a few things. She never gets anything made for herself, you know, she just buys clothes, she doesn't sew. And it's really enjoyable for me to make her things. She is really easy to fit. She has a B cup size, so any pattern will actually fit her really well. Maybe a bodice height, maybe some vertical measurements, and usually just customizing lengths of skirts. She's a little bit taller also. But in general, it's really nice to sew for her. Earlier when I got here, I made her a Tessa sheath dress, which was really nice. She really enjoyed that. And in yesterday's video, you would have seen her in a beautiful black and white Azores dress, woven pattern that was a little bit more involved. And now this time, I've made her the Olympia dress from Love Notions. Now, this is a dress I made for myself in 2019. I always loved it. I had the construction in my head like I'd sewn it yesterday. It's a really fun project to put together, not your typical knit dress. And I'm glad I was able to come back to a pattern I loved in the past and make it for someone that I also love. The Olympia dress hasn't been updated yet to include the full size range, so it's on the list of patterns to be updated, but Tammy has been ticking along and updating a lot of patterns. When the size update happens, all you need to do is re-download it from your account. You don't need to buy it again. So the Olympia goes up to a 3X at the moment. The Olympia dress is the Feature Friday pattern for Love Notions. You might be seeing this video a little earlier than when the sale starts. Usually you'll see the sale for the Feature Friday pattern go live late Thursday night. So if you're still awake around 10-11 p.m. and you look at Love Notions website, you'll see that the sale is already there for Friday. So you might be seeing this video a little ahead of time if you've been planning to get the Olympia dress. Maybe wait until you see that it says $5 on the screen, because it'll still be a lot less than if you get it 30% off during the sale. Always remember to use my code Karina10 at checkout, because that gets you an extra 10% off on top of what is already there marked on a sale. It'll work even on top of sales. When you purchase using my link and my code, I get a little commission from there, and that is one way that you can support the work that I do here on the channel. I uploaded a video about it, my snake print version. I filmed in a lot of detail how to sew this bodice, the front neckline, all that. So if you want to see how to sew the Olympia dress, I already have a video on the channel about it. I will link it down below. When I've already filmed something, I'm not going to film it again. Sewing it was really fast, really easy. The fabric is an ITY. It's very lightweight. For the Olympia, you can use any fabric really, from lightweight to medium weight. You can even use a Ponte Roma. I've seen versions made in Ponte Roma. Because the skirt flares out a little bit, if you use a heavier fabric, it will just have a little bit more volume away from the body. One thing you can think about when you sew a garment that is a nicely fitted bodice with ITY or rayon spandex is cut the back of the bodice double. Sometimes I use the fact that I have 2 layers at the back to enclose some seams and things. This time I kept it simple. I just cut 2 backs, placed them together, wrong sides together, so I have a right side on both sides, and I just hand basted it all together at the bottom, at the side seams, armhole, everything. So it could just act as one piece, and then I forgot that there were 2 layers there, and I just sewed the bodice as normal. So it's a really nice print. It's a navy background with white and green. It's very lovely. I have elbow length sleeves for her. This could be sleeveless. There are instructions for that. And on the sleeve piece, you'll find a shorter version, elbow, and then long. So I think this is a length that suits a lot of people. It tends to hit just where the waist is. I think it's a nice option, especially here where it doesn't get that hot. You can wear sleeves here. So this is the bodice. Look, you can see the right side of the fabric in there because my back is double, as I mentioned. But there is the front neckline there that is sewn up to there, and all of this inside is folded in. I'll show you that when I turn it right sides out. There is the bodice waist seam. Now there is a shoulder line there on the bodice. It's about 1 inch higher that you can use if you're making the maxi skirt version. Usually maxi skirts use up a lot of fabric and tend to weigh down the bodice. So if you are using the regular bodice and then you add on a maxi, you end up with a bodice that goes down, 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 ends up longer than what you want it to be. The shorter skirt, then you can just use the regular bodice. That's what I've done here. This is a skirt. I've added 2 extra inches of length to the original skirt so that it hits mid-knee for her. That's where she wanted it. And it's so pretty. Let me show you inside. This is the type of project that I've sewn partially on the sewing machine and partially on the serger. Look, I don't have an option to do a narrow zigzag here with my mom's basic machine. I can either do a huge zigzag or a medium zigzag. I can't regulate settings, so I just used a straight stitch. So what I could do, and everything will be fine. My sister-in-law, she's not going to be pulling her dress off, you know, it'll be fine. So there is a center seam that you sew there, and there's a little pivot area, and then that becomes what is folded in inside here like that. This is serged previously before sewing this seam, and you can see how to do that in my video. There's a little pivot point where you have to sew. It's really interesting, really fun. And then part of this front includes the neckline here on the back. So there is a seam right there. So the front comes from here and it comes over there. There's a pivot point there, a pivot point there. We have to do a little clip. That is what you see right there. And then the shoulder seam. This is all sewn in one go. From here, pivot, down here, pivot, and then that puts the front and the back together, including the back neckline. Super fun sewing technique. I really enjoy techniques like that. And so all of that was sewn with the sewing machine, and then the edges finished with the serger. Side seams were done with the serger only, and I've got 2 layers on the back, as you can see, and then I united the skirt to the bodice with the serger, and I've got a twin needle hem. So it was a mix of machines to get this really, really precisely sewn. You cannot sew the neckline with the serger. You just can't. That pivot point, you really need to use a sewing machine for that, which is great. And I really love how it looks on her. Her eyes lit up when she put it on. She saw in the mirror, she was so happy, and that makes me really happy. Let's see it on her. This is the Olympia dress from Love Notions. I made my sister-in-law. I gave her a choice of fabric, and this is the one that she chose. I think it's really pretty. It's an ITY knit. I made her a size small with a B cup. Even if this dress is designed for knits, you have B, C, D and double D cups available, which is really cool. I've got elbow length sleeves here for her. You can use sleeveless, short or long. The skirt is really nice because it's flared at the hem, but there's no bulk at the waist. Super nice flow. It's a very flowy design. Fabric is super lightweight, so when I sew with really lightweight fabrics, I like to use 2 layers on the back just to give the dress a little bit more support. It feels nicer on and prevents you from seeing outline of undergarments. I think she looks amazing, and I'm really glad I made it for her. Short and sweet video for you today. I hope you're having a lovely time at home. Over there at my in-laws, I don't have a possibility to sew at all, so I'll be working on other things. I've got some videos to film over there. I've got some items that are already sewn. Yeah, it'll be a little bit hectic, but it'll be nice. I will have a bit of time away from the actual machine, which will heal my hands and my body, my back, and all those things that start aching when we've been sewing a little bit too much. So that'll be nice. I won't just disappear. You will still see me around. That's all from me today. I'll see you again soon with more sewing. Bye.